Happy New Year, dear friends. I know it's a little bit late to keep saying Happy New Year, but this is the first knitting podcast episode of year 2026. So, welcome back if this is not your first time here. If it is, my name is Maria and I am a Romanian eater who lives and knit in Norway. And this is the podcast number 1 or episode 1 of 2026. This year things will be a bit different, with the exception of this episode. So, in today's episode, I will talk about what I have finished in January and what are the whips I have on my needles and my plans with these whips. Starting the next episode, I will only talk about the finished object I have, if I have, and the project that gets the more knitting attention from me. I will do some hand cream, because I have been knitting a lot since I woke up this morning. And by the way, today it is Saturday, January 17th, and it's almost 10 o'clock. I have the artificial light or the ring because the light is not the greatest. Also, I hope the sound is great because my son is sleeping, and I don't want him to wake up because of me. Okay, it has been an interesting 2025 knitting year for me. However, I'm starting this year with new goals. I decided that I want to knit more light colors. When editing the episode of everything I've knit in 2025, I realized that a lot of the colors I don't like anymore. They are too dark, too cold, too lifeless. At least this is what I felt when editing the video and seeing the pile of knits right on my left. And I thought, when editing, what was I thinking? Still, I'm entering, or I enter 2026 with lots of whips from last year. And again, I have some colors that I'm not that sure anymore, but I still love the project and I will finish them. And the first and most important finished object you see today is what I am wearing. I am so proud to introduce you to my self drafted garter stitch sweater. I've started this sweater around, I think, end of August or maybe beginning of September last year. And I've worked the body, like half of the body, and I stopped. First of all, because I had too many projects on my needles and I couldn't concentrate and decide what type of construction I want to have on this sweater. This is a bottom up, so I started bottom up. I will stand up a bit, I hope you can see. So I have 1x1 ribbing hem that I'm folding like this, and I don't know, I'm not turning because you won't see that much, but I will try to make a separate video that I can put somewhere here, left or right, so you can see. So as I've said, I couldn't concentrate on this sweater and what I wanted to be. Initially, I thought I will work the body in the round, and then I will work the front and the back separately, back and forth, and I will do the same with the sleeves, back and forth, and then I will sew the sleeves and the yoke together. In the meantime, I changed my mind, and I don't. I'm not sorry about it. But first of all, let me tell you that this yarn, it is one of my favorite. I've decided it's definitely in my favorite yarns to knit with, and it is a yarn. When I'm saying favorite, it is a yarn that I will come back to, because this is my, I think it's my third project with it. But actually only two projects I finished with this yarn. The third one, you will see later, is still a work in progress. However, I've made already self-drafted cardigan last year, and I love how it holds. It holds way better than many other yarns that I've knit the previous year. So this yarn is called Ask, and it is by Hillesvåg, and this is 100% lamb's wool. I hope I'm not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, I will put it on the screen. This yarn came in hanks of 100 grams, and it has a little bit more than 300 meters. I don't know if 315 or 20 or something like this. And it is meant to be worked with needles in between 3 and 3.5 millimeter needles. However, this, even if technically it is more a sport weight, I feel like this yarn behaves more like a DK. So it's very easy to use even 4 millimeter for this yarn. It's not that rustic like, for example, Finule by Rauma. It is. However, it's still rusty, but not itchy, I feel. But don't take this for granted. Not for granted. Take this with a bit of salt, or however you say this in English, because my tolerance to itch, wool itchiness, it is beyond maybe normal. I mean, I have a very high tolerance to very rustic yarns, and I never wear something underneath because it bothers me. I wear something underneath if I'm having a sweater or a cardigan on over a dress. That's the only reason. But right now I have nothing beside my bra underneath, and it feels just perfect. And it also it feels light. This is a light sweater in my opinion. This is weighing like 350 grams around. So it makes it so pleasant in weight and how it feels, the fabric. Now, when I returned to this project and I've said to myself, okay, I need to finish this sweater, I've changed the initial idea of making the sleeves and the front of the yoke and the back separately and then sew them together. And I thought, okay, I will try a different construction that I've made before in a garment, but not, it was somebody else's decision of planning the pattern, not mine. And as always, it feels such a hard work to do it yourself. Um, of course, I had to unravel a few times at the yoke, but first of all, I've done the body in the round. I've started with a tubular cast on, which is different. I'm using a provisional cast on. Maybe if I will do a tutorial at some point about this sweater, I will show how am I doing this method. It's not that I invented. It's nothing on this sweater is new. It's just some detail constructions that I put together in something that I thought it will work for my body. So it's nothing new in this sweater, not even one step on this sweater is something that I came out with. No. Okay, so I've made the body in the round and the sleeves are made in the round up to underarm. Now, what I didn't want, I knew that once I decide to work the garter stitch in the round, I knew that I have to find a way to decide on a method to have an invisible, how do you say, what is the word? You know, when you finished one row, when you are finishing one row and you begin the other row, when working garter stitch in the round, there is always difference in between the beginning and the end of the row. So the last stitch is creating this visual thing, like the last stitch is one row higher than the first stitch. So the rows are coming like this in garter stitch circular and not like this. And I know there is methods to slip the last stitch sometime when working, or to how do you say, to change the beginning of row, but I did not want those because I thought I just complicate my work, and I don't want to stress about, oh, I forgot to change the beginning of the row, or I forgot to at every, I don't know what number of rows I need to do something with the last stitch, so this difference in between rows levels to not be visible. So then I decided to work a knit stitch. I hope I will put here some b-roll so you can see what I'm talking about, because even if I stand up you won't see this. I decided to have one stitch on each side of the sweater where the front joins with the back, and that stitch I was knitting on the knitting row of the garter stitch, and then when I needed to purl for the garter stitch motif or stitch pattern, I was slipping these two stitches with the yarn in the back. So actually I was knitting this stitch only on the first row, and then did not work the stitch on the next one, and I repeated this across the body, and this way I had absolutely no difference in between the rows. Actually it works so good that you couldn't tell where the row begins and where the row ends. It was perfect. Now I've done the same thing on the sleeves, here on the inside, not inside, how do you say, in not inwards. I guess you know what I want to say. My English is failing me this morning already. Because I wanted to not only match the slip stitch on the body, but also to help me with the increases. Because again, working in the round and increasing for the sleeves would have create again this difference of in high of the rows of the beginning and the end of the row. And again, it's something I really, really wanted to avoid. I guess I'm a very visual person, and there are some details that if I know they will bother me, and I know I have to find ways to fix those problems. So I've made the same for the sleeves. Now, when I reached the length I wanted, or I thought I wanted for the body, which is always tricky when working bottom up, I'm not gonna lie. I just, I think, as a side explanation, I think it can be the fact that you have less weight when working bottom up because you start with a body. But when you work top down, you have more weight on your needles. And when measuring the body, that extra weight is changing the gauge of your rows. I think you have a smaller gauge when working row gauge when working bottom up because there is not that much fabric that is pulling your stitches and changing the row gauge you have. Then the opposite when working top down and you reach the body and start to work the body, the more you work the body, the more weight you have. So the pulling on the stitches and the way your gauge is row gauge is changing is different. So it might be this, but again, I'm not an expert. I'm just this is my thoughts from my experience that I'm sharing. Yeah, so as I said, when I reached the length of the body, I've made. I need to come back because I said something wrong. I placed everything on one needle, of course leaving the stitches for the underarm on the body and on the sleeve separately. Now I'm going back a little bit. I'm sorry I'm all over the place, but I just realized that I didn't start with a tubular cast on. It's another project I started like this. Actually, I've started with a provisional cast on, and I've started directly with a garter stitch because it's so crazy. I didn't say this from the beginning, and I forgot. Just because I I was unsure about the length I want and the need for the body, and I've said I will make the body without the hem, and I think I've made 28 centimeters. And I thought then I will come back, put the stitches again on the needles, and do the hem top down. Again, also thinking about the weight, I like more when you do the hem top down than bottom up, again because in this case the weight matters. The more weight you have, the more will pull and elongate your stitch in the ribbing, and you will have a more good looking ribbing. At least for me it happens like this. So yeah, it's just it's crazy how small details can affect the way our garment can look in the end and feels in the end. Yeah, so after I put everything on one needle to work in the round, then the hard work actually started. So I wanted something with a saddle shoulder, but at the same time I wanted a raglan, and I had to decide how much I will decrease using the raglan method and when to start, because there are three parts when doing this type of construction. So first you start with raglan decreases, and then you shape just the sleeve. That means you are decreasing only from the sleeve stitches, not from the body, the front and the back stitches. And when you've done this part, then you actually start to work the saddle. And when working the saddle, it means that you are not decreasing anymore on those number of stitches that you have after the sleeve shaping. You don't decrease them anymore. Instead, you decrease only for the front and the back of the sweater. Now, this part here, I had to unravel. Actually, I had to unravel almost the whole yoke of the sweater, because I didn't like how it looked here at the neckline. I mean, I liked it. It was more like a bow neck, but I knew that if I'm not changing something, the front of the sweater will be very high on my neck, which it's exactly what I wanted to avoid. Now, when unraveling, I decided to make even more raglan decreases and then start the shape of the sleeve. And then again, another difficult part was to decide when and how to work the decreases here in the front for the raglan, because you never know how many stitches I should decrease for at the beginning at once, because you decrease a lot at once here in the middle, and then how many to decrease on the side and at the same time to shape the saddle. This was quite difficult for me, to be honest. I mean, it was not, I cannot say here, oh, it was so easy to do it. No, it was not. So these things makes me appreciate even more all the designers out there, all the people that are creative, and all the people that are working to create all kind of patterns and garments and details and techniques and combine them, and to this way we have access to so many possibilities. I mean, having the possibility to choose in between so many, I think this is exceptional. It's wonderful. And making this self-drafted sweater again reminds me why I like to buy patterns, why I like to support the work of other people, because there is a lot of work, and yeah, it's not easy. And anyway, after my second try, I was happy. And I'm glad I've done a second try, because decreasing more on the raglan, I eliminated a little bit of fabric here. I had a little bit more. I mean, I think I decreased an extra 8 stitches more than what I have done before unraveling. But you know, those 8 stitches means 4 centimeters actually. So 4 centimeters to have on the front extra, it's quite a lot, I think. Now, after making the decreases for the neckline and finishing the saddle shoulder, I've worked the short rows at the back. So this way I was making sure that I will have a very good fit. And I don't know if you can see. I hope I put some, I love how it looks. My back is not straight, so I don't know how much you can see, but I don't know. I feel it's looking like it should be. I really think this, and yeah, I could not be more proud of it, because in the end, it's my work. I've done this. I was able to do something that makes me feel good wearing it and makes me feel comfortable, and it's light and it's a color that I like, brown. I think brown is my favorite color, which I will try to knit less this 2026, but we shall see. Yeah, very proud. I'm so proud. Now, for the neckline, I've decided, when after finishing the short rows at the back, I decided that I need to think about a very small neckline. First of all, because the sweater was already high and I didn't want even a folded neckline on my neck. And then I said, this, how the sweater is looking around the neck, it's so pretty. It's more like a blouse, I feel. And I thought, I don't want the neckline to take on this part, this visual part of the sweater. And I decided to make just 1.5 centimeter of double knitting on my neckline. I wrote everything. I'm so glad I did. And I was so happy. Then when doing the cuffs and hem, I decided to make a normal one by one ribbing. I think the one by one ribbing completes so nice the garter stitch. Now, another thing that I wanted for my sweater, the garter stitch, of course, it is a more voluminous stitch, creates more volume than the one by one ribbing, which tends to cinch, right? So for the cuffs, I had to, of course, I had provisional cast on also on the cuffs. I unraveled the provisional cast on, and I've made some increases, not that many. I mean, I could say I've done 9 extra stitches, because again, I wanted this to not become like a balloon effect cuff sleeve, but also I did not want the cuff to be wider than the actual sleeve. So yeah, it's only having nine extra stitches, and I've done the same for the body. I've added a number of stitches, not that many, and of course for each cuff and the hem, I've done tubular bind off, because there's no way to do something else. And it's funny because the sleeve gave me a lot of headaches, because I have never, I think, done a garter stitch sleeve before, and I already knew that I don't want a wide sleeve. And initially, when I started the first sleeve, I had more, I think with 10 more stitches than I have now. And I remember I've done like half of the sleeve, and I was just trying it on my arm, and it was like here. And I thought, this is not good because I still have to increase some stitches because I already had the math for the yoke kind of in my mind. So I needed a number of stitches for the sleeve in order to make the decreases I was planning to do. And yeah, I realized it was too big. So I unraveled, of course, and started again with way less stitches. And it worked. I really like how it looks. There is one thing I've noticed when I try this morning, and I'm not quite sure if has something to do with the number of stitches that I left on hold for underarm. I only had 11 stitches from the body on each side and 11 stitches from the sleeves for each sleeves for underarm. Usually what I see with this weight of yarn are more than 11. It can be 12, it can be 14, it can be even 16. But I don't like when there are so many stitches at the underarm. However, I will stand up. I don't know if you can see that there is something here. It's something here. Looking it's not looking bad. It's just, I don't know what, I just don't know what it is. It's not uncomfortable. It's not bothering me. It's just, it is. But at the same time, I'm also realizing that maybe I am exaggerating. I mean, that extra fabric that I have, it's actually the positive is of the sweater. I mean, if I am eliminating that, then I will have a negative ease sweater, right? So maybe I'm overthinking this process and this part, and I'm sure I'm overthinking because this overthinking is creating me a lot of problems. When I know a lot of you ask if I will write this as a pattern, but this overthinking is actually that creates me a lot of problems. And yeah, I thought a lot. I had like a knitting cafe yesterday on this channel in my language, Romanian language, and I was thinking after that knitting cafe, maybe I am asking myself too much. I mean, making a self-drafted sweater in my size is not making me ready to transform this sweater in all the sizes possible. One, because I don't have the experience, and I thought a lot since the last time I talked about it, and I think there is such a huge difference in between modifying a pattern and creating a new one in many sizes. I think they are two opposite things, because when modifying, I think modifying is very easy because you already have the pattern, so you already have the canvas, you already have the tools to make those changes. I mean, somebody already did a very good job with that pattern. So if I'm not happy with the original look, I have the tools, the pattern, to make the changes according to my personal preferences. So I'm still debating. One thing I know I will do. I have wrote this pattern in my notebook, and I will try these days to write this in a document, in a PDF, and I will put it on my Ravelry. It won't be free because it's my work, but it will be like a symbolic amount of money. I mean, not a huge, of course, it's one size, but maybe somebody who has similar measurements can make this sweater too. Now, in the meantime, I will try to make more sizes. However, I know one method is test knitting. But for me, there is a problem in between making more sizes and testing. For me, there is another step in between. And that step, it is the fact that first I need to do it myself. Yes. And it's not possible for me to work every possible size of this sweater. That's for sure. And I was thinking to buy more of this yarn, it doesn't matter the color, and to try to cast on, for example, for the next size, half of the front stitches for one sleeve and half of the back, because this is the part I need myself to do it. I don't know how to put this in words. I can have the numbers, but for me it's 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 the fact that I want to have something that I can put next to this one and compare. I don't know if this makes sense for you. I think with this explanation, I am just proving that I am not material of a designer. I'm not. And it's also the fear that what if this it fits just me like this? What if I am doing something that won't fit another person, or at least won't fit that nice another person? How am I explaining to the people that I'm asking some money, some money for something that it's not working? Is it me problem, or it's normal to have these insecurities and the questions or questioning yourself? I don't know. Maybe you have had a similar experience. It's also the fact that I need more time. I need my time. I need my rhythm. I cannot do this with a lot of pressure. And definitely, I cannot afford to professionally take editing this pattern, because it involves some cost that I am not able to pay them, at least not at this moment of my life. So what I thought is to, as I've said, I will write this in a document. Of course, I will make sure it's clear and correctly and easy to follow. And I will put it on my Ravelry, and I don't know, for example, $1, things like that, just, yeah, just to maybe feel motivated to make more, maybe feel motivated to work on the next size and the next size. And if I will do this, you already can imagine that this will be a very long process for me. First, to make myself the yoke, half of the yoke sample for each size. This is something I just cannot get over it. I mean, it's something my mind needs to do in order to make sure that this sweater will be good for somebody else. Because what I'm saying, another explanation, and maybe you will find it a little bit weird. Again, I am not a designer. I don't have experience designing clothes of any time. I'm not a sewist. I don't know how to sew. But I know there are programs that will help me to grade this pattern. However, if I will grade this, I can even save money and pay somebody to grade it for me. But when test knitting, I was thinking, what if somebody from size 6 or 7 is having some issues? How do I fix those issues if I have never made that size or the part of that size? So this is how my mind works and fears. So I think in order to make sure and to also have control on each step for each size, I need to do it myself. Because then if an issue appear and somebody has a problem with, the construction, then I know what is talking about. Is this makes any sense for you? Because yeah, I feel I'm overthinking and exaggerated, but at the same time I'm taking this so seriously. So I rather put this out there in one size, but something that I know it's working very well. And even if nobody will buy it, that's okay. But I prefer this instead of rushing the things, making more sizes, but even test knitting, but actually to not be what it needs to be. Is this making any sense for you? Please let me know, because I don't know what to say about it anymore. So I don't think I have something else to say apart of the fact that I measured this sweater before washing, and I measure it in all the parts that matters, not only circumference, chest or length from the underarm to the hem of the body. I've measured diagonal, this part of the creases. I've measured vertical. I've measured the saddle. I've measured the part of the shaping of the sleeves. I've measured only the raglan. I've measured the arm circumference at the upper arm here toward the wrist, the hem, the stitches, the gauge stitch and the row stitch, and the width of the shoulders, and everything, and I washed the garment, and after was completely dried, I took again the measurements, and I was so surprised to notice that almost all of them are as before washing. The only part that modified, it's the sleeve. So for the sleeve, I had before washing 34 centimeters at the upper arm, and I had 42 centimeters in length from underarm. Now the circumference is approximately 31 at the upper arm, and the length, those 3 centimeters that I lost here, they are in length now, as you can see. And it's very interesting. This is telling me a lot about the yarn. First of all, because garter stitch usually tends to grow in length. And I was convinced that this won't have the same gauge. Now the gauge is very simple. You have the stitch gauge, 2 stitches for 1 centimeter, and the row gauge is 2 garter stitch rows for 1 centimeter in high. And that was interesting. And the needles I've used, they were 3.5 millimeter. Yeah, 3.5. I've used, I think, 3 for the neckline, and I think also 3 for the cuffs and hem. I hope I'm not mistaken, but I wrote everything. So let me know. I have 3 extra kilograms since my summer vacation that I am not able to get rid of them because I'm sure I'm not doing something correctly. So now my bust is actually, those 3 centimeters are also, those 3 kilograms are also in centimeters. So actually my bust is 106 centimeters. And this sweater measure, I think, 110 centimeter circumference bust total. So I would say it does not have that much positive ease, but at the same time, it doesn't feel fitted. It doesn't feel snug. It feels just very, very nice. And I think that's everything I had to say about this project. But let me know if you are interested to have access to this document of the self-drafted garter stitch sweater that I've done, but not professionally tech edited. Let me know. Next project. I realize I didn't tell you something, and I promise this is the last thing. So if there is something I would like to try with this sweater again, is to change the numbers, but to make also my size, but to try to make the sleeves even more set in, and this part here to be more here. But I think this is more possible if I'm doing this construction top down, and I might try this with a cardigan because I really want to make this version of the sweater as a cardigan. So I might do this in the future. Who knows? I will let you know. Also, I think it works so nice over with this skirt, which was actually a second-hand off-on clothing dress that I got this summer at a very, very good price. But the upper part of the dress the body was not, I was not feeling comfortable with, and I decided to turn out in a skirt. And the person who helps me to modify my linen clothes is so talented. I think she has done the best job ever with transforming this dress in a skirt that is not wearable. It's like it was meant to be like this. Okay, next, I finished a hat actually this morning. And I won't say a lot about it because that's not a, yeah, how much you can say about a hat. This is the Musselboro hat by Isolda Tig, and it is my favorite stockinette hat pattern. This is for my husband, and I know it looks a little bit smaller. However, what I've learned with hats, and this is one of the reasons I stopped to make them a lot of months. Even last season, I didn't made hats, I think. It's because they always grow enormously with wearing. And now I've made actually one for myself in December that grew a lot. But what I have done is actually to make it with negative ease. And I knew that with growing, it will still fit me, and it is. And for this one, I've used a hand dye yarn, which is not my favorite. This variegated, it's definitely not my favorite. And I've used a strand of knitting for olive mohair, and it works just fine. I have it at my work at a kindergarten, and this is the first hat I have that I can wear in very, very windy days because it's windproof, believe it or not. There are 4 layers here. So this is for my husband because at the beginning of the winter we got some hats from the store, and I even pay for 2 hats like 50 euros for each one. And I don't have it with me to show you how bad they are looking and how is not worthing the money. I will never buy hats, at least so expensive. I will rather make them. So I've used the Musselboro hat pattern from Isolda Tig, and I am making them with negative ease, and it works very well. This will grow and it will fit my husband just perfectly. Now, my husband is not a fan of itchy things. Actually, this winter I got him a sweater that has wool in it, very nice. I never made a sweater for my husband, but he's starting to ask for it. So until then, he's getting used more and more with wool. And I told him, unless you are allergic to wool, you can educate yourself to tolerate the itchiness of this natural fiber by wearing the garment as often as possible. And he has done that. Now, when talking about hats, we had the second wave of cold temperatures here in Norway. In this part, close to Bergen, we didn't have snow, but we had minus degrees. We had like minus 13, but they were feeling like minus 20. And he's working outside. And he, when you stay that many hours in the cold, you really need something that will work and will be windproof, at least when hats talking. So when I finished my hat, I said, you can try this on to feel the mohair. And he tried it on and said, not that bad. And I said, it's about your forehead. So it will take a little bit a while to get used. And he said, you know what? I want you to make me one. Okay, so last Saturday, me and my son, we drive to a town that is almost 200 kilometers from where we live. And I visited yarn shop, and I knew I want some knitting for Olive. So this one, for this one, I had a one strand of knitting for Olive merino and one strand of knitting for Olive mohair. And the merino is the slate green. It's the color 99 136, and the mohair it's the same slate green 91 014. And I got two of merino and two of mohair, and this is what I have left. I don't like when I have leftovers, but what can we do? So I've made mine using 3.5 millimeter needles because mine is thicker. The wool strand was thicker than the merino from Knitting for Olive. And for my husband, I've used 3 millimeter, and my husband hat has 8 extra stitches comparing to mine. And you start at one end making increases, and then continue to work circular as a tube. I make mine 60 centimeters from the cast on. When I reach the 60 centimeters, I start to decrease on the other end. And this way I make sure I have a very high fold. And this works. I'm so happy I finish it, just in case the cold is coming back or the windy days when it feels like minus degrees. He now has a hat. Another thing that I don't do with hats, I still have to wave these two ends. I don't wash them. I just start to wear them because I don't see the point to wash them before. And I will probably need to wash mine soon. Mine grew a lot, but still it sits. Oh, okay. Mine it's a little bit longer. Mine it had like 64 centimeters long before starting the decreases. So a lesson learned to make mine. I like more the fit of this one. But it's okay. It's okay. And my husband has actually like 2 extra centimeters at the circumference head, but still this will it will grow with wearing. So I'm very happy. Now I'm so focused on these hats that I know I want to have my next one on my needles. And I have the yarn, but I don't have the mohair because I always say on this channel I don't use mohair, but for these hats I will make an exception every time because it's so warm, and it's exactly what we need here because this is a colder climate than in other parts of the world. So of course you need something with a fabric that gives you warmth. So this is my second finished object, and I'm so proud of it. And you will see more of this on my channel. I'm planning to make more. I actually, my husband likes this green, and he has a winter coat or outdoor coat that is in this color. And he said, you can make me a brown or a green because he has both of clothes in this color. And working with so much brown lately, I thought, I'm sorry, I will make you a green because I have 3 projects in brown on my needles. I don't think I will have so much progress with another brown project, even if it will be a hat. and I think it's not bad. It took me exactly 1 week, considering that I was working on this only in the mornings, only in the mornings. So if I would have had exclusively worked on this, I'm sure I would have made it in 2 to 3 days at least. Yeah, that's that. And my last finished object, it's my first of this type and last, because for the life of me, if I know how to wear this. If you remember a few episodes before, I've told you that I have some leftover yarns that I don't know what to do with it, and I will make some Sophie scarves. Well, I've made one, and I've made it even longer than the pattern says. Mine has 1.2 meters long, and I need to. Initially, I said I won't block it, but I need it even longer. And I don't know how to wear this. First of all, because I don't like things on my neck. So, what was I thinking when deciding to make this? I'm just, yeah, checking the microphone. So, I'm hoping by washing this, because this is super wash merino, this is a Henda yarn from La Bien-Aimée. So expensive. I paid more than 30 euros for 100 grams, which is just crazy. I don't see myself doing this now. Yeah, I need to wash this, and if I cannot wear it, I will keep it, and maybe one day I will gift to somebody that can wear this close to the neck. So I've used 3.5 millimeter. I'm not having much to say about it, and I don't see the point. This is a petite knit pattern. It's a good way of using leftover yarns or small quantities. But if you are like me and you cannot have things close to your neck, then I don't see how this will be your project. Okay, now I will show you the projects I am working on. First of all, I will start with my priority now. Me and a couple of Romanian knitters, we started a knit along in September 15th, 2025. And we started to work at the Ingrid sweater. This is my third Ingrid sweater since the pattern came out. And this is a version I am making for my dresses. Of course, I will again do it like this. I like to fold the hem inside of the sweater. But first, this is the size 2 of the pattern. And the yarn I am using is the same I've used for this garter stitch sweater. And this is Ask from Hillesvåg. And for the Ingrid sweater, I am using 4mm needles, just as the pattern says. I try this on and it will look so nice after washing with my linen dresses. Now I am working at the first sleeve. It took me a lot because everybody got the pattern, but just a few of us, we are English speaker. So the rest of it, they don't speak English. And also there are some parts of the sweater that are new techniques for the people. So I'm making tutorials so they can make this. So it takes a lot of time. However, if we manage to finish this and everybody ends up with a nice sweater that they will wear and like it, then my mission is fulfilled. How do you say? Complete. And I'm happy if everybody will be happy. I didn't do modifications. I worked according to the pattern for the size 2. The only modification I've made is for the neckline. Um, I have a bit more stitches than the neckline recommends for this size, and I decided to make a double folded neckline and to sew down here on inside. And I try this on and I like how it looks. For the sleeves, even if I'm making size 2, I want to follow the instruction for size 1, but I'm afraid that there is no difference in between size 1 and 2 regarding the sleeves, but I shall see. I didn't read throughout the whole process of the sleeves, but you are making, I think, the same number of decreases and you pick up the same number of stitches. So I don't see how this is different from size 2, but we shall see. So this is a priority. I am working already on the first sleeve, and I passed the short rows because this pattern has short rows on the sleeves. And I don't know if I have enough yarn. Yeah, I guess you shouldn't be amazed, because lately this is a huge problem for me, not having enough yarns for my projects. So we shall see. I'm definitely need to buy more, but I need to reach Hillesvåg, because this is the yarn. It's called, I think I said, Ask by Hillesvåg, a Norwegian producer, and I would love to, because I got this from them, and maybe I have the luck to find the same dye lot, although this medium gray, I don't think it's dyed. I think it's a natural color, but I'm not sure. Yeah, so that's that for this project I have on my needles. I don't have nothing more to say, apart of the fact that I cannot wait to finish this and to have it off my needle. So this is a light gray or a medium gray, or yeah. So this is one of the projects I'm taking with me in this new 2026. Another project that got a lot of attention, and I just cast on the second sleeve, but I am working at the ribbing because this is a project by Pieces. It's the Timmy sweater by Sarah Solomon, and this was in my 2025 knitting plans, and in the end it was in my fall or autumn knitting plans. And here it is, guys. This is such a beautiful, beautiful piece. This is a bottom-up construction. This is the front, and this is the back. And even if it has a lot of shaping, this shoulder, it's still a drop shoulder. And I was a little bit confused when I managed to sew this sleeve and to try it. And I thought, oh, but I've made size 2. Why is so drop the shoulder? And then I searched for the pictures and I saw, oh, okay, so it is meant to be like this. These cables are looking more complicated than they are actually, and they work so fast. This is a chart with only 8 rows repeats. It's so easy. It's something that I memorized, and I don't need to look on the chart now to work. It's very easy. It features this very high 2x2 ribbing that I've made according to the pattern. I didn't change anything. Maybe here on the neckline, I think I have less stitches than the pattern says, because I've done it first with more stitches and then I unraveled and picked up again stitches because it was too wide, and this time I end up with less stitches than the pattern says. However, this was a pattern, I think it was published in a magazine, so it has less information than Sarah Solomon's patterns in general, but it's easy to follow. However, for the neckline, it doesn't says, it says just the number, the total number of stitches that you need to pick up. I think, no, I think I'm wrong. I think it says how many for the back, how many for the sides, and how many for the front. But it doesn't says to how we are used with petite knit, for example. She said to pick up 3 out of 4 or 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 3 or things like that. No, so you just have to figure out by yourself. But other than that, it is a very beautiful, easy pattern. For this pattern, I am using one of my favorites, another favorite, Reuma Finule by Reuma, obviously. And this is again a sport weight. This is thinner than this one, which is also sport weight. But they are similar in texture a little bit. And I'm using the recommended needle for the pattern, which is 3.25 for all the cuffs, hem and neckline, and for the main body and sleeve you use 3.75. I like my result. However, I think I like more a finial with 3.5 millimeter needles than 3.75. This will grow a bit with washing because the cable panels will open, but I'm hoping this to not grow that much because the sleeve, it's already at this length. So I'm hoping this will grow in width at the sleeves and not in length. And it's silly because at least up to the first stitch marker, you work a chart repeat without any increasing. And I should have realized that I can skip this part, and this way I would have had like almost 4 centimeters less on the sleeve length. But it is what it is. Another issue, or I should say this is the main issue I had when sewing the parts. The finial, it is a very loose spun yarn. And because of the friction, it becomes more like an unspun until it breaks so easily. So I had this problem when seaming together the back and the shoulder at the front, and my yarn breaks, and I had to do some things to fix that. And then when sewing the sleeve, I thought, I will hold the yarn double and sew it, because it will be such a work to always change the yarn and have so many ends. Although this is wool, and this wool, I'm sure it won't unravel. However, I've done it with double, and I'm so happy I did this. I have quite a lot of stitch markers here, a ton of stitch markers. And yeah, what can I say? I love this. And this is on my list to finish this January. This and the Ingrid pullover, because I need to finish them. I'm quite advanced with them, and I love this, and I'm so glad I've done this sweater. However, can you see colors similar? And my next project that I will show you, it's also a brown one. So bear with me. And my browns. Where are you? You are here. So my next project, it is a self-drafted sweater. If you remember, if you have been on this channel before, I will put a picture here. Last year I've made a cable sweater for myself, and when I try in December, I don't remember exactly, I tried to make more sizes. I tried to figure out if I can visualize the sizes, or again I will have the same problem that I will need to make myself every size, which is impossible. Anyway, I don't know what I have done with the instructions. I only found the instructions for the sleeves. So in one of my cleanings, this corner, I had so many notebooks for years that I didn't even understood what I wanted to make in those notes. So I said, okay, I will give up on this. So I might throw my instructions. And I don't understand why I have the sleeves, but not the rest of it. So I guess I wrote in 2 different notebooks. It doesn't matter. Now I've started to make it again, but this time I'm making the sweater bottom up. So I've made the body up to underarm, and now I am actually working at the back. And as you can see, it does not look like much, and I'm a little bit worried about how much I decreased. But yeah, I don't know. I just want to finish this to see, because this will block and it will say it will open a lot. So this is another project that I'm having on my needles, and I'm curious to see if what I imagine for this sweater, it will actually work. I don't know. We shall see. The yarn I am using is actually another brown, but this time it is the Isaiah Jensen, and this is 100 grams and 250 meters, so a true decay, I would say. I'm using 4mm needles, and this brown, how many browns we can work? Yeah, you know, that's why I've said that I want to make some changes this year. So we shall see. I hope to make more progress with this and to come back one day, one episode, and to show you the final result. So this is my 3rd project that I have from last year, because this is something I started last year too. And my next project also started last year, and it's a project that I started also because of the weather. It is another cardigan, and it's something that I have done before. So last year I've made as an autumn knitting plan the Comeback Yarn cardigan by Andrea Mori, and I wanted another version, but to have it for my jeans, and I wanted a long version. So I had in my stash since the summer vacation, I had some of this yarn from, I have the Yellhold Triple by Ulspinnery. It's a Danish yarn, and this is the Aran weight, the thick one, and I had 600 grams. I'm not sure it will be enough. Again, I won't insist about me starting projects for which I don't have enough yarn. So I've started with a body. Of course, I'm in the middle of a row, and I cannot show you properly. So I still have like, I think 15 centimeters, I think. And then I can start to work the sleeves, so I can join sleeves with body. So this is again a bottom-up construction. It features this beautiful texture, and I like this pattern very much. I think it's one of the most wonderful I have ever made, in terms of me not modifying nothing in the pattern. So this is another one. This is mostly a near, how do you say, car knitting for me. When my husband is driving, I have this. This is how I've made this progress on the body. But it will be very nice to have it for spring, you know, when I'm driving, so I don't wear the winter coat that much unless I'm walking a long distance, of course, and I'm doing this also. But other than that, I'm having always my coat in my car, but I rather prefer to have a woolly cardigan in the car, because yeah, I feel more relaxed to yeah, when driving, you know. I don't know how my husband is driving the car with the winter coat. I don't understand, but yeah, we are different. So this was my fourth project on my needles. My fifth project I'm taking with me from 2025, and this is a long-term project. It is my Argyle Aberdeen sweater by Martin Story. And so far I have finished the back. And I took a break because this is such a time consuming knitting pattern. Again, it has all the colors in the world. For the life of me, if I know why I have choose this, how do you say, happy colors. They together, they feel like they are having their own party. Yeah. And I finished the back. So once I am finishing another 2-3 projects that I have now on my needle, and they are close to be finished, I will come back to this, because as I've said, this is so time consuming that knowing I have so many other projects on my needles, it keeps me not concentrating on finishing this. So yeah, I will come back. The yarn I am using, it is the Reumat Finule. Again, it's a wonderful yarn, and I'm doing size 1. This is again a knit by piece garment, and I'm using the same number of needles the designer says in the pattern. And yeah, I might do some modification. This is another reason I didn't hurry with the front, because I want for the front to lower the opening of the neck when you start to work the opening, because from what I see in the pictures, it feels a little bit too high for my preference. So we shall see. I'm a little bit worried about how I will sew this such an imperfect edge, but I decided that I will give it a try in a small portion here in one corner, and if I don't like how it looks, I will block all the parts, and then I will take them to the wonderful lady that helps me to modify my linen dresses and skirts, and I will ask her to machine sew the pieces together, and this way I will get rid of the stress of me not being able to make a very good job with sewing. And not because I don't want, it's because almost on all the rows you need to catch the other strand, and it's right on the edge, so it's quite difficult to, at least for the moment, when having just the back, I don't know how it will look if I will try to sew them together. So I guess once I'm making the front, I can try to sew them and to see if it's looking good. If it's not, then I will do that. So this is my sixth project that I'm carrying from 2025. I think it's already so many. There are so many. And another project I have, and it was a test knit, and I'm hoping to finish for my mother, finally, to finish the second sock. I have the first one here. Everything is falling. So this is by Knitonomy. It's the Bloomfield sock. And I've made one and I've started a second one. And although I'm not a sock knitter by any means, I enjoy making this first one. But my problem is that I'm never able to work the second one. And it's something that it happens to me with, how do you say, the ones that you're using for the hands. Water. I forgot the name in English. I'm sorry, but I have to Google it because it's... Oh my God. How is it called? I can't believe this. I'm sorry, but I have to Google it. I can't believe I have this lapsus. Glove. Glove? Do you say glove? Glove? Do you say glove? Gloves. Yeah, my lord. Yes, so I have the same problem with gloves. I'm just keep looking the time because I am about to go out in 15 minutes. Yeah, so this is another project that I just need to finish. However, I've only made one sock. I don't have the pattern, so I have to buy the pattern. I feel ashamed to reach the designer and to say, you know, I didn't finish the second sock. I don't know if I'm allowed to have the pattern as a free one, but that's okay. I will always support the designer, so that's fine. So this is the seventh, and I have another one that I forgot about it, that I started in the summer, and I want to see if I'm able to finish. So this is the Bonbon Cardi by, I don't even know how the designer name is. It's by Knit Cafe or Mere Knits. And I've started this in the summer. And I'm using such a wonderful yarn, but this is all the progress I have. This is Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the color Powder. And this is a top-down short sleeve, beautiful with this flower lace motif texture. And I think I stopped because at some point there was some updates on the chart, because the chart was, this is the yarn, the chart was wrong at the underarm, I think for the body. And I had, again, so many projects, and the summer, I think, was almost ending. And I thought, you know what, this is not a hurry. And I couldn't feel I can concentrate on this. Yeah, I will visit again the pattern, and I will decide if I continue. But I would like to actually have that a cardigan. Now, this beauty, it's a gift I received. Actually, I wanted to pay it, but it's a Romanian lady who lives in Sweden, and she hand embroidered this for me. And this motif, it's a Romanian motif. This rose. We have it in a lot of traditional shirts and costumes, and yeah, it's so wonderful. And yeah, she made it for me, and I so much love it. And the last thing I want to talk about is a little bit of yarn that I got when I got my husband yarn for the hat. I couldn't help myself, and I got 7 balls of knitting for olive merino in the color Dusty Banana. And no, I didn't buy this color because it was popular last year. I got this color because I think it will suit me. I hope. But I still didn't decide. I have 2 projects I am thinking. One is a raglan sweater top down that I made for myself last year, and I would love to make another one. But on the other hand, I would love to make a cardigan with this, with cables. Even if I need to use 3mm needles, I really don't mind, because I know the result will be spectacular. Yeah. Whew, I think I rushed out the things, but I also talked so much at the same time. Let me know if you are carrying a lot of projects from last year with you this year, or if you managed to be more organized. As you can see from the last episodes, I don't have new cast-ons, which I mean, I think I have one, but comparing to the rhythm I was used to cast on before, I think I'm good. I mean, I have 8 projects, but I know at least 4 of them I will finish them very soon. So that will be a very good moment to take a deep breath and to relax a bit, because yeah, I will finish them and not stress myself about it. So I think that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for being here, and if you have questions, you know, you always can write me, or I hope this was not too boring for you. I know longest episodes are not for everybody. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram as Romanian Kniter in Norway, and you can find me on Ko-Fi if you decide to support the channel. If not, no problem. Yeah, I hope you have wonderful projects on your needles and inspiration. And first of all, I hope you are safe, and yours too are safe. So thank you, happy knitting, and until next, bye bye.